afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to our first inaugural Gender Equality Changemaker Awards. I'm so excited to host this memorable event where we will celebrate basically our gender equality changemakers and the great strides that we are all making to create gender transformation in our workplaces and organizations. So my name is Kideila Tututu, and I am the Senior Course Coordinator and Gender Specialist here at Digital Frontiers. I'd like to thank all our attendees, our advisory board members, funders, subject matter experts, our communities of practice facilitators, Digital Frontiers, for making this event possible, and it has been such a great journey. And lastly, to our finalists, we are so proud of all the amazing work that you have done in your organization, and that is why this day belongs to all of you. So I would like to then hand over to Gavin Krugel, who is the CEO of Digital Frontiers, and Tariro Nimo, our Deputy Divisional Director, to welcome us all to this event. Thank you, Gavin and Tariro.
Thank you, everyone. Tariro, shall I jump in or?
Sure, Gavin, you go first.
Great. Thank you. Just to reinforce the thanks, mainly to Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation as the funder of the GEC program that makes all of this possible, this change possible. Our partners, Center for Sexuality, AIDS and Gender, and all the work that all of the rest of our partners and our amazing change makers do. The GEC program was envisaged as a way to start change first in the African continent from the inside of organizations out. So the thesis behind the program is very much linked to how can we really change systems if we don't have changed organizations? How do we change products and services and make them more intentional if we don't have changed thinking, even at an organizational level? So this is something that's really close to my heart. It's really one of the impact stories that I, when I leave my career, want to leave behind. And so I'm not only incredibly proud of this program, I'm incredibly proud of all of you that have worked so hard in delivering this program, and even more incredibly proud about all of the exciting change projects that we see coming out of our graduates. There are around 70 more qualified gender equality change makers on the African continent today than there were a year ago, and that's thanks to this hard work. 70 more is a heck of a lot that have the skills and capabilities to effect change in their organizations and in society, and that is really what we're celebrating today. I'm so excited to see the finalists and to see what they're pitching, and to see who our winner is. And I'm also incredibly proud and excited to be amongst you as a gender equality changemaker, a certified gender equality changemaker myself. Over to you, Tariro.
Thank you, Gavin. So I just want to thank everyone first who has made this possible, and everyone who's joined us for these inaugural awards. So to just get straight to it, I'm going to introduce our keynote speaker from the Gates Foundation, and that's Snigdha Ali. So I'll just give a brief introduction of who she is. She can add more if she would like. She is the Interim Senior Program Officer and Gender Advisor for Women's Economic Empowerment and Bangladesh at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Prior to joining the foundation, she spent more than 8 years collectively at the World Bank in various roles, focused primarily on gender equality. While at the World Bank, she co-authored a book entitled Voices to Choices: Bangladesh's Journey Towards Women Economic Empowerment. She's also spent 4 years at BRAC in Bangladesh in various roles. And we are so pleased to have you with us. Thank you, Snigdha, and over to you.
Thank you, Tariro, and greetings to the esteemed guest speakers and the contestants. As Terito mentioned, I'm Snigdali, Senior Program Officer and Gender Advisor in the Financial Services for the Poor team at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I am simply honored to be here today and participate in the Gender Equality Changemakers Awards ceremony. We live in an unequal world. While there are growing awareness and initiatives to make the world a more equitable place for our future generations, gender equality will need more than just development sector interventions and feminist actions for deep structure changes in organizations. If we can build capabilities and human connections of thousands of gender equality change makers across the countries, we can begin a series of change processes, because changes in individuals will result in changes in organizations, products, services, and eventually changes in the systems that we are aspiring to make. The Financial Services for the Poor team at the foundation works to support access to and usage of financial services and products for the poor, especially for women. Our goal is that by 2030, women have near ubiquitous, which is 80% adult worldwide, 60% of those who earn less than $2 a day, equal access to digital financial services, and can easily, safely, and confidently use them to manage their complex daily lives and aid in their aspirations over which they have agency and control. Anybody working in gender in any sector of the development world, we know how difficult this is to achieve. But we still do try. We do not just give up hope and not try to achieve those goals. So what we do is that we aim to do so through supporting initiatives in a number of thematic areas, like accelerating closure of the gender gap in digital financial inclusion, amplify women's economic empowerment outcomes through active usage of digital financial services, gender mainstreaming by integrating evidence-based gender equality objectives and strategies into bodies of work and their associated strategic partners, which is DFI in this case, and enabling system changes to remove gender barriers to digital financial service access and usage. And we are happy to support the Digital Frontiers Institute for the Gender Equality Changemaker Program. In partnership with the Center for Sexualities, AIDS, and Gender at the University of Pretoria, DFI works to expand the body of knowledge and create a profession around gender equality and mobilize a league of gender equality changemakers to initiate gender action plans in the organizations and eventually form a gender professional body. That's a commendable aspiration and an initiative. This program expands the body of knowledge and the number of professionals with an understanding of the tools and techniques to develop changes in organizational behavior and attitudes towards gender equality. It aims to increase the number of organizations that adapt policies and practices that encourages and rely on the efforts of gender equality change makers and undertake gender equality change projects. The goal is to have as many organizations as possible with such projects and to establish a designated role or roles within the organizations for this GEC, the Gender Equality Changemakers. And this is done through training cohorts of students in a year-long multi-course programs, connecting them to peers in their country and across the world through facilitated communities of practice, giving them mentorship and support them while implementing their change projects. The GEC program is led by our esteemed Tariro Nyomo, we just met her, Deputy Divisional Director of the DFI, who led the team that conceptualized this program. And she is supported by the broader programs team and leadership, of course. The program is built and implemented by subject matter experts, learning designers, and class coaches, all of whom apply a gender lens to everything they do, from the language used to the way the courses are presented and the outcomes that are expected to be seen. Students are also supported through admissions and student support teams. The program has been commended for its work and influence by Women in Development and FSD Africa, which has helped the program attract more professionals and access more networks for future cohorts. And I'm not going through too much details, but just very briefly, this program offers 6 courses, train more than 3,000 participants in these 6 courses, resulting in 482 certified gender equality changemakers and 482 company-level gender action plans. And I'm very pleased to know that Gavin is one of them. Establish 10 country or regional communities of practice and convene 390 community meetings, establish a global online community practice. Now in its 2nd year, the program is showing promising signs of early impact, having delivered 936 capabilities building trainings for 405 unique students from 169 organizations across 35 countries. It has established 10 country-level peer support communities of practice. I mean, this is, again, it is a far-reaching, it's a global initiative, impactful, and so much more to offer throughout the rest of its journey. The first certified GECs consist of 55% female, 45% male, 31% development sector, 18% public sector, 49% private sector, and 23% executives, 31% senior leadership, 26% middle management, and 7% junior staff. We can see the variety of not only the phases of careers, but the sectors, the participation, the contribution is like, again, extremely impressive. Today, we will hear from the 5 finalists, I believe, who will share their experiences and insights while making this journey as gender equality change makers. And without further ado, I would like to open the floor to the rest of them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Snigdha, for that wonderful introduction, one, to the Capstone project, and also to the change that we are really trying to make as Digital Frontiers, as the Gates Foundation's advisory board members, and going beyond to even our SMEs. So thank you so much for that. Now, I would like to introduce basically a wonderful speaker also, who is the South African Research Chair in Gender and Childhood Sexuality. She is known for the large international fields of study crossing the sociology of childhood and youth studies, with a particular focus on gender and sexuality across the Young Life course. It is my great pleasure to introduce Professor Divya Bana, who will be sharing a presentation with us on gender in the workplace. Over to you, Prof.
Thanks very much for the invitation. And I know my screen's going to, my PowerPoint's going to be displayed right now. All right. Okay, thanks very much. So my presentation would encompass, the next slide, please, would encompass these areas of concern, as illustrated in, when the speaker, the first speaker, talked about the sort of domino effect that can be put in place once sufficient gender change makers are inducted into and have a better sense of the sort of norms and the sort of regulatory mechanisms through which women in particular and others, and this includes subordinated men and other genders, are penalized in the workplace. So I want to start off with my own work, which is the following, in which I am investigating very similar issues that you are, but within a younger life course. And the punchline of my work is the following, that we can make no change should we not have a multi-pronged approach that stretches across the life course and that includes a multi-level sectors, including the workplace. So this notion of separating gender equality work and the gender norms into particular sectors seems to me a problem if we as a broader social system do not recognize how the norms that are replayed and enacted in workplaces indeed have a base, and this base interacts with families, with households, with religion, with a variety of sectors, including schools, that then impact upon the inability to attain gender equality in the workplace. So the title of my presentation is Not Yet Equal for Women, Gender in the Workplace. Can we move on to slide 2? So I picked this quotation up from the New York Times, in which it's very clear the ways in which, even to date, the ways in which humor and banter is being used to subordinate women in relation to particular gender roles and identities. And so whilst this can be seen as simply humorous and a joke, this is precisely the ways in which gender norms are being regulated and normalized through humor, in which women's place in the broader social system, and in particular in the workplace, are then mediated. Next slide. So what do then workplace organizations do? They institutionalize definitions of femininity and masculinity, and they do create these gender hierarchies. It is no wonder that to date, in 2022, despite the changes being made and despite policy, we still have more men in the boardroom across nations. And this attempt to correct and to change is indeed important and should indeed be accelerated if we are to see changes in our own lifetime. So the previous speaker, as I analyzed it, referred to this gender change makers as a domino effect. So the domino effect is really significant here, because if organizations institutionalize the ways in which femininity and masculinity are perceived, then the domino effect in terms of addressing and countering the dominant norms might indeed be the hope and the scope of changing these gendered hierarchies. I have to add that across nations, particular cultural and social norms also have effects for the way in which gender manifests itself. And so it is important to understand that the work towards gender justice in organization requires a country and a context and a cultural specific analysis of what gender means within that broader surrounding social and a cultural organization, in order to ascertain women's and others' experience of these hierarchies. So in 2022, we still have the challenge in which women and men and other genders are defined within gender appropriate jobs. And this is hugely problematic in relation to achieving gender equality. So what are some of the issues that reinforce these gender appropriate jobs? It's the economic processes. And it's the authoritarian styles that are associated with particular jobs. It is notions that associate violence with particular identity types. It is, as mentioned, gendered discourses and gendered ideologies. It is also about sexuality. And we must factor in the emotional interactions amongst all of these issues that I described that give power to the reinforcement of gender inequalities. So I want to focus, on these economic processes in relation to definitions of masculinity. So for instance, and I want to come down to a very practical point, and this is the third bullet on the slide. Economic processes mean that men's relationship to particular work environments, including women's relationship, are to date defined by one's gender identity and the role that is assumed to go with such an identity. In South Africa, and this is not just South Africa, but across the globe, men's role in childcare, in early childhood centers, as carers, as teachers, as nurturers, remains between 1% to 3%. Now, this is a clear statistical evidence of men's reluctance to enter into a workplace, and that is childcare, because of the assumed connection between nurturing and femininity, and beyond that, that nurturing femininity is also equated with lower economic status and power and authority. So as you can see, all of these come together to configure particular understandings of what men can and what women can do, even in 2022, with some of the most progressive laws that pervade some countries, including South Africa, in relation to gender equality. Now, we must not forget that gender and sexuality are interrelated. We are living in times, in #MeToo times, where the ascendance of sexual harassment in the workplace must be configured into how we understand gender equality in workplace organizations. Now, whilst in the West, there has been since 2017, or ever since Tarana Burke's #MeToo campaign in 2006, on the African continent, that has not been an area that I think has received much attention as it should. So the argument that I make is that gender and workplace equality cannot be considered without its embeddedness within this whole notion of sexuality and the pervasive ways in which sexual harassment operates to subordinate women and others. So these expectations of masculinity and femininity, as I have been framing my discussion around, do have a place, and this place is not simply in the workplace. It arises from and is refined and reproduced, but I must add, also challenged from across the board in families, in households, in communities, in workplaces, in religious organizations. And so the marvelous work that is being done in terms of gender change makers in the workplace is an important arena in which to refine the norms that continue to place women and others in subordinated roles. So I have discussed then this notion of men as an particular striking example of workplace inequalities and the ways in which particular work is regarded as a no-go arena for men, but an arena for women. So the implications then of gender socialization from across the Young Life course for the workplace means that when young men and women come to work, they come in as gendered and sexual beings, and they carry with them cultural norms that impact upon the ways in which they connect with others. Now, Paula England talked about this being stalling the gender revolution. However, I would want to argue here that whilst one could talk about a gender revolution, I would caution much here by saying that the work of the gender change makers is not simply revolutionary, because it doesn't just mean one certification and one action. It means a constant and an ongoing process of challenging and changing the ways in which gender manifests in everyday life in the workplace, from how one dresses to how one speaks, the vocabulary, and right across the spectrum, including sexual harassment. Can I get to the next slide, please? And so I come to the conclusion, and I'm referring here to one of the various great scholars, Raewyn Connell, and she talks about the workplace as well in her work, in which we need to connect the workplace with visions of the better world that we know is possible. And I think this is what these gender change makers are doing, because we know that a better world is possible. And there is reason why patriarchs bash women in particular so often, because they are afraid of equality. And Raewyn Connell argues that the right thing to do is to make them more afraid. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. Bana, for this thoughtful presentation. And you can just see with the hands, everybody's just so happy. Wonderful presentation. And just to add on to that, you know, gender equality in the workplace, it does take many forms, from unequal pay, dispiriting promotions, incidents of sexual harassment, and it does present itself in a very nuanced way. So, for instance, few opportunities for women or mothers that creates burnout. So gender socialization is key here, and understanding the division between men and women is key in understanding basically workplace inequality. So thank you so much for highlighting that for this group. I thoroughly enjoyed this presentation.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Prof. So I think we're getting to the part now where we will be talking about our finalists, which I'm very excited. But before I touch on to that, I just want to mention is that what I found is what makes the Gender Equality Changemaker program so different from, let's say, other programs on other courses that you find online. And this is something that Signa did talk about, is that we have communities of practices where we actually bring theory to practice. We recognize that some conversations around intersectionality, maybe gender equalities, and organizational mainstreaming needs to take place in an environment where participants feel safe to express their opinions on their social and cultural norms. So in this aim, as we stated before, we have created 10 communities of practices where students are housed and led by a community of practice facilitator to guide them in order to implement their gender change project. So we will actually be now presenting videos where our COP facilitators have gotten to interview the finalists, where we get to know more about their capstone projects. I'd like to thank all my facilitators for all the hard work that they put in making these capstone projects be implemented. Thank you. So we will be sharing the video. Nabile? Okay. Just hold on for the video to load, please.
For being a finalist. Hi Melissa, how are you? My name is Pamela and glad to host you today, and congratulations again for being a finalist to the Gender Equality Changemakers Awards. So why did you decide to become a gender change maker, Melissa?
Pamela, thank you so much. Well, at the beginning of 2020, like the rest of the world, my team and I were confronted with the COVID-19 pandemic. And for 2 months, we were working from home and not being on the ground with the coffee growing communities that we support. We took the time, being confronted with the uncertainties, to reflect inwards, to have discussions about our interventions, but also looking at gender equality. What does it mean for us as an organization? We discovered that we have biases, prejudices, and we still have a way to go, even though we had a gender transformative approach that had been validated for use in our interventions. So when the opportunity came to join this program, I really saw it as the chance to gain more understanding about gender equality. What is gender? The theory aspect of it, but also get equipped with tools to direct and facilitate change within my organization.
Okay, thank you very much, Melissa. I can see, yes, COVID did bring some good things, and those reflections were really pertinent. So please tell us about your gender change project.
We work in the coffee sector, which is a male-dominated sector. And as one of the leading cash crops in Uganda, it is many times perceived as a man's crop. And the challenge has been to recruit women to join the technical team, but also to identify farmer trainers whose capacity we can build. So my project is really focusing on the recruitment and promotion of women.
So what would you describe as your early successes, Melissa?
Well, it's early days, but the one thing is having a receptive team that is come on board 100%, who are willing to look at what we're doing critically, looking at the challenges and the opportunities. If I think about identifying farmer trainers, looking at our selection criteria and see how can we become more inclusive when it comes to our language manuals, that would make sure that it is not gendered, but rather inclusive of men and women. In the communications, making sure that when we're talking about a farmer or a family household, we're not immediately thinking about a man. The other thing is in the recruitment, that we are actively looking for women that may not have the experience, but have the qualifications. And where we see there needs to be some capacity build, looking at creating those opportunities and providing resources to do that. Last but not least is leadership, also having been able to identify individual women to promote and groom into leaders. Okay,
thank you. You're right. It's the subtle aspects that actually matter, and looking out for, the invisible. So any last thoughts, experiences that you'd like to share on your journey thus far?
Certainly. One thing, gender equality is everyone's business. Sometimes we talk about it as being a feminist movement, or compartmentalize it into one category of expertise. But if we recognize the benefit of having all members of community being represented in our organizations, in the work that we do, in the services that we deliver, then we will be much further and much quicker reach the goal of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals.
Thank you, Melissa, and congratulations again and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Nobile. I just want to wish all the best of luck to Melissa. What you will find is that you will also get to see Pamela again. As much as she's a COP facilitator, she's also a finalist. So I am proud of Team Uganda, and keep up the great work when it comes to that. So we're going to move on to our next finalist, which is Ebabwa Bele from Ethiopia.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this interview. And thank you so much for agreeing to be part of this interview. And congratulations for making it to the finalist and for being a certified gender equality change maker. Why did you choose to be a gender equality change maker?
Okay, first, I'm passionate to build an inclusivity and fairness environment. So in my country, there are very strong social norms that dictate that the man is a provider and the woman is a homemaker. So we are taught very early on that aspect and conform to these roles. I thought that working with man and woman from their community to support change in knowledge and attitude in gender equality and women's in economical, social, and political participation is very important. So I will accelerate the progress towards gender equality with their organizations through policies, gender inclusive initiatives, products, and services. So I believe that change makers are fortified to endorse thoughtful and a long-term change. This is the reason why I change makers. Thank you.
So briefly, if you can let us know about the projects that you're implementing.
Okay, I learned a lot from the gender equality and equity courses that provide AFI. Then I tried to address and discuss with friends when we were talking while eating lunch or drinking coffee. At this time, I have learned that reaching out to people who are already engaged in the topic is much more impactful than traditional consultation and engagement method. By engaging with this group of people, it brings their voice to be a table, helping us to provide solution. When sharing my project, shine a light on this issue. People who never considered gender before now are in the forefront of their work. I have seen it all shared in administrator and staff understand when and how various response mechanisms should be used. Finally, I had made an interview with various women, but I didn't ask any woman to go into detail. But so many did, they need a safe spaces to be able to talk about their experiences. And also leaders are aware and participating to create a more gender responsiveness and inclusive initiatives, intervention procedures. The main reason for not talking about before was they thought that no one would care. This is a project that proceeds.
Maybe briefly, if you can also share with others, someone might learn from the work that you're doing, right? And some of your successes.
Okay, to be honest, I'm an outspoken person. So every time I speak out about equality, fairness, my voice is helping to wave more equal and just a fair society and always fight for change. Because of this relentless bad boys reign over bread rooms and ring out across a playing field from organization, a school, anywhere is on my way. So I know that with a more gender equality come less discrimination and violence against women and children, and also speak up to create a fair society and environment. Unfortunately, I didn't have any reward or certification regarding to gender, but people thanked me for helping. So this taught me that I will continue fight to build a fairness and equality environment. This is the success.
Maybe lastly, if you can share with us your experiences and your thoughts so far.
Okay, maybe this, I had a work experience in school and people were vulnerable in the school, even if have not observed it or been told about it. We should discuss our concern with the students and prepare a comprehensive program to prevent and elimination harassment. So it should include a procedure for students to follow if they believe they have been subjected to harassment. In addition, these districts should have in place explicit instruction called a protocol for employee to follow if the witness or other learns of a specific incident. A district should also specify the action schools officials should take when they are informed harassment. We had made a steering committee who follow and measure the action. Unfortunately, I am the leader of the steering committee. As per the protocol, students had repeatedly failed charge against a teacher. From here, we gather a tangible information, and based on this information, the reports, based on this information and reports, we suspend the teachers who did harassment. But some people were not happy. However, we believe that many changes in this doctrine have reduced women harassment. As apart from it, it is not easy. I myself a victim to raise my voice, equality and fairness everywhere. But from where I stand, I am change maker. I'm not afraid of standing up for what I believe in. This is the experience that they have.
Thank you so much. I am so proud of you, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, and congratulations, Ababois. We are happy to have you as an ally, particularly at this point in time. And yes, you are a gender change maker, and congratulations. So I would like to move on to our next finalist, who is Eden. I had the privilege actually of interviewing her, and my colleague will be sharing our interview. Then from there, we will have a reflection by our SMEs, where basically they will be doing a reflection on other student capstone projects. Nobile, can we just start it over so we can hear the sound, please? Thank you so much, Eden, for joining us. Firstly, I just want to congratulate you for being part of our finalists and completing the Gender Equality Changemakers Program. So I just have a couple of questions for you today, just to know more about your capstone project and basically what you are in the process of implementing. So my first question for you is, which is a simple one, why did you decide to become a Gender Equality Changemaker?
Thank you for the question, and I would say that I chose to become a gender equality change maker as I want to walk the talk of gender equality. And how do I do that? I intend to do that through the skills, knowledge, and the values that I have gained from the Gender Equality Changemakers Program in bringing about tangible gender change in whatever initiatives that I take forward.
Excellent, and I know that thus far you will be doing a great job in that. So in a few words, can you basically describe the capstone project?
So my capstone project was basically aimed to identify and assess work-life factors that affect how women may or may not achieve their life goals. And in trying to understand that and analyze the challenges, to look at and create more opportunities for women to enhance their professional growth. And not only that, even to the institutions. The institution could have the possibility to explore opportunities to build flexible and inclusive workplace that will value everyone.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I mean, this has been brilliant, especially before you can start anything, you need to know how to gender mainstream it. So I do believe we started in a great place. So if you can just mention, what has been then your early successes?
Oh, as far as my early success is concerned, I would say I'm privileged to get the opportunity to use this knowledge and the skills that I have gained again from the Gender Equality Changemaker Program in terms of developing a toolkit on mainstreaming and implementing institutional gender diversity and inclusion for the Alliance for Financial Inclusion. And basically, just to mention that the Alliance for Financial Inclusion is a network of policymakers which consists of central banks and financial regulators from over 75 developing countries. So this toolkit can or will guide the AFI members in adopting a structured approach to promoting institutional diversity and women's leadership, translating into gender-sensitive policies.
Wonderful. That is very, very excellent. And I look forward to seeing this change really implemented, especially in such a big organization like AFI. So just asking in your own final words is, do you have any thoughts or experiences that you would like to reflect on, particularly being on this journey?
So the gender equality journey, Changemakers journey, has definitely broadened my understanding of gender, which I now understand is core to one's identity. And it's a social construction, and more than anything, it's fluid, it's dynamic. So in short, it made me realize that promoting gender equality is not taking something from Mr. A and giving it to Miss B, or taking from Mr. C and giving it to Miss D. It is more about giving Miss B her birthright, something she's entitled to but has been deprived of for so long. And therefore, I would like to sum up by saying that we should understand the importance of promoting gender equality, and it should be seen as an opportunity for everyone, something that will benefit everyone, irrespective of their gender. And if at all we are going to meet the SDG goals.
Thank you so much, Eden, and congratulations for being a finalist.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eden. So what we're going to be doing now is going into our Q&A break session. And this is where we are going to ask, firstly, our subject matter expert, Vuyiswa Manzini, about basically doing a reflection on our finalist capstone project. Over to you, Vuyi.
Thank you, Kinedwe. And I will jump straight into it. I have to say that it is very heartwarming as an SME to see what our students have been able to achieve as a result of having attended the GEC program. And as I listen to them narrating their journey, one can tell that these individuals came in with the desire and motivation to bring about change. And that is very important. Not any change, but change in ways in which, as Prof. Divya Bana said earlier on, change in the arrangement of gender hierarchies, gendered workplace cultures, and the ways in which organizations define gender appropriate jobs. What is evident in all of their capstone projects is that they built on their motivation and desire by attending the program, and they acquired the tools and knowledge that allowed them to build analysis of gender challenges, to link personal experiences and addressing values and practices. Some of our speakers have spoken about these values and practices, referring to them as social norms or gender norms, harmful social norms, I have to say, because they then reproduce or reinforce gender inequality. Our gender change makers also challenged taken for granted knowledge. In addition, one can see that through their projects, they have demonstrated that they have gained the skills and capacity to act. This is evident in Melissa's project on recruitment and promotion of women. We also see it in Eden's project through the development of a toolkit on mainstreaming and implementing institutional gender diversity. And we also saw it in Abube's project, where he's working on towards creating a more gender-sensitive environment that takes into account the unique needs of the different genders. We also remind our students during class calls that gender is difficult. And I'm happy that there was an acknowledgement of this issue from Signa Ali earlier on. She also outlined that gender is difficult. I want to add on and to say that it is difficult and it is dirty work. Dirty work because it is about power, and discussing change in gender relations means discussing changes in the distribution and exercise of power. And oftentimes, this is uncomfortable for many people. And as a result, one will be met with resistance. Our finalists have spoken about challenges and early impact. Now, what is critical in this kind of work is that you cannot work alone. In overcoming some of the challenges, you need buy-in and you need to form alliances. It is important to recognize and differentiate between the people you are working with. Some may join you because it is convenient for them at that particular time. Oftentimes, this is short-term and over a specific issue. Now, gender equality and inclusiveness is organized around long-term issues. And here, you want to form coalitions of consciousness. And we do see that our students in their work have formed alliances and brought people on board. And this helps in overcoming some of the challenges, and it makes it easier to see early signs of impact. But The goal is to form coalitions of consciousness where people are in it for the long term and we are able to see meaningful change. And I would like to say to our finalists, congratulations for making it thus far. You have showcased fabulous and fantastic programs. I'm so excited, and I want to continue to watch and see how far you can go, and we want to also see the long-term impact. I'm happy to see already the early signs of impact, and once again, congratulations to our finalists. They've really put in the work.
Thank you so much, Wei, for that. You really summarized it well, and congratulations to Pamela, Ebobwa, and Melissa. Now, I would like to hand over to our last two finalists, which is, firstly, it's going to be Pamela, and then we're going to end off with Prudence. So, Nobile, may you please just share Pamela's video presentation.
Sorry, everybody, please give me 1 second.
In the meantime, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to pop them into the chat box, and our SMEs and everybody also who is on the call, they will definitely answer the questions that you have.
Hi, I'm Ian Isha, a Gender Equality Changemaker co-facilitator for Uganda. Today with us we have Pamela, who is a Gender Equality Changemaker Award. Hi, Pamela.
Hey, Ian. Glad to be here.
Could you tell us how you became a Gender Equality Changemaker?
I think I've always been a gender advocate, but the Gender Equality Changemaker course gave me a whole new perspective, especially focusing on the issues around deep structure. I began to deeply evaluate our, field-based programs and our procurement systems, and realized that we had a very low percentage of female field-based staff, as well as female-owned businesses as part of our service providers. And I thought this needs to change. Thank you.
Could you briefly describe your Gender Challenge project?
Yeah, so my Gender Change project focused on those two areas. How do we improve and make more balanced our HR processes and systems, especially for field-based staff, as well as our procurement? How do we ensure it's more gender responsive? Thank you.
So have you had any other successes in this?
Yes, I'll start with, first of all, the gender equality course, making many more people out there to know about it and to participate in it. And that's so Uganda having over 50 participants, students enrolling for the Gender Equality Changemakers course. We also, including the organization's HR manager. My organization is the International Institute of Rural Reconstruction, and she's now a gender champion. We also have started initiatives for female-based staff. In fact, recently we took a decision to recruit 2 female staff who were in their 3rd trimester of expectancy, but we still took that bold decision to recruit them. And also setting up guidelines for the gender responsive procurement system. Thank you.
Those are quite commendable milestones, Pamela. Do you have any other thoughts or experiences that you'd like to share with us? This journey that you've made?
Yeah, thank you. The experience is that we need to be the change we want to see, quoting Mahatma Gandhi, and also that this journey requires resources, human resource, financial resources. So things like gender audits and analysis need to be budgeted for example, because they will definitely come up with actions that need to have resources accompanying these bold plans that we have. So the journey ahead is still long, but it is achievable. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Pamela. We wish you good luck on the awards, and look forward to seeing more of what you're doing together regarding gender equality.
Thank you, Ian, and thank you to DFI, the Bill and Melinda Gates, and all the partners here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela, and congratulations for being a finalist. I would like to move on, not to our least, but to our last person, which is Prudence Mninzi.
Good morning, Prudence. I hope that you're well. My name is Parero Matsira. I'm your COP facilitator from the Southern African region. I would like to firstly congratulate you on making it to the Gender Equality Changemakers Awards as a finalist. Could you please kindly introduce yourself?
Good morning, Parero. My name is Prudence Mninzi. I work for the Center for Financial Inclusion, which is an agency of the Ministry of Finance. I am the project manager responsible for coordinating the implementation of the National Financial Inclusion Strategy in Eswatini. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. So Prudence, please kindly let us know, why did you choose to become a gender equality change maker?
The reason I chose to be a gender equality change maker, I've been working in the development space for the longest time, and we have actually been quite cognizant of the fact that we need to mainstream gender issues within our processes and in the communities where we work in. But I then realized that I lacked the necessary skills and tools to know what to do and how to do it, so that I better inform the interventions and our processes to make sure that we are gender sensitive in the way we conduct our activities in the organization and in the communities where we work in.
Okay, and that's one of the aims of the Gender Equality Changemakers project, to give you tools and frameworks on how to mainstream gender and plan interventions that are aimed at ensuring equity. So could you please kindly talk to us or talk through your gender change project with us?
My gender change project is looking into conducting a gender audit in the organization and eventually within our communities. So what I'm trying to do with that gender audit, I want to test our readiness and our attitude toward gender equality within the organization. I want to test how ready are we on embarking on a journey to bring about gender equality in the organization. So that's basically what the project will be looking into. And I hope that once I have conducted the audit and I understand the issues and the gaps, will then be in a position to influence our policies and change some of those policies that may be lacking currently.
What has been your early successes with this project in terms of implementation? What have you done thus far?
What I've done this far, before I joined the project, we've already started on a journey to develop a gender inclusive finance roadmap with a view of wanting to make sure that women are given the equal opportunity when it comes to accessing financial services and products. But since I joined the Gender Equality Changemakers Program, I was then equipped with the necessary tools to make sure that as I coordinate the development of the Gender Inclusive Finance Roadmap. And all issues that would be required for us to be included in the roadmap, using the skills, the tools, and the frameworks that were given. Then I was in a position to spearhead the development and finally launch the roadmap, which was launched in August by the Minister of Finance. And what we are currently working using those frameworks, we are already working we are already establishing the technical working group to make sure that we implement the Gender Inclusive Finance Roadmap to achieve the desired change that we want to see.
It sounds like you've gotten the ball rolling, Prudence. Thank you very much on that reflection. Could you just also kindly elaborate on your experiences thus far in your gender journey? Any tips you like to share with other gender change makers, and where to from here?
What I would want to share with our fellow gender change, equality change makers, those that are coming in the program, is that as you embark on this journey, you are definitely going to experience obstacles, because the minute you talk about the gender agenda, people think that you want to challenge people. This agenda is not about challenging people. It's all about challenging the status quo. It's all about changing the stereotypes, our biases, the policies that continues to perpetuate gender inequality within our organizations. So I think that is what I would want to share with our fellow people, to say they shouldn't give up, they need to persevere, but empowering the people that you want to walk the journey with will help a lot in terms of ensuring that you get a buy-in in your gender project.
Thank you very much. Thanks for highlighting that. Gender change is a complex issue, and it needs everybody within an organization to go on a journey together. So it's important that people have multiple stakeholders as allies when implementing their gender change project. Thank you very much, and all the best with the Gender Equality Changemakers Award. I hope you bring it home. Thank you for your time, Prudence.
Thank you. Thank you, Caroline.
Well done, and thank you so much, Prudence, for being a finalist. You are doing a great job thus far. So I'd like to hand over to Gabriella, who's also from the Center for Sexuality, Age and Gender, and she will be basically doing also, just like how Wesa did a reflection, she'll be also doing a reflection. Over to you, Gabby.
Thank you so much, Kenilwe, and thanks everybody who's joined the call, and most importantly, a very warm welcome and a big congratulations again to all of our finalists, not only to Pamela and Prudence, whose reflections I'll be speaking to directly, but to Ababa, Eden, and Melissa as well, who have taken so much time and dedicated so much energy to designing and implementing these interventions, and also sharing with us their insights and reflections and some of the early changes that they've noticed. So thank you so much. And I will say, just to start off with my reflection, that to keep being called a subject matter expert in this work feels very ironic and actually quite funny to me, because just on a personal and professional note, it's been an immense privilege to learn and to gain so much from the participants on this course. I really do think that evident in each one of your testimonies is the idea that you bring something really unique to the table, and you offer us so much to think about and so much to contribute towards our own work. So just to start off with that, but what I think I'll do is to just speak to three kind of key themes that I've picked out from all of the videos, but more specifically in relation to Pamela and Prudence's work. And the first one, I've just written down the question, what? What is gender, and what does gender work look like? And I love how my colleague Vuyi described, and I can almost feel it watching the videos, and I have felt it throughout all of the courses, the sense of energy, the sense of motivation. Vuyi used the word desire, to keep doing this very tireless and quite laborious, emotionally, intellectually laborious work. What comes up for me is the old feminist axiom, the personal is political, because so many people come to this work and come to this course, you know, carrying so many personal experiences, things that have happened to them in their personal lives, but also in their organizational contexts. And it's really inspiring to me to see how that deeply informs the work and the interventions that are being designed and implemented. So what is gender work? I also really was inspired by Pamela's words on a new perspective in relation to gender. I think that something that has been just a consistent source of inspiration for all of us working on these courses is just to think about how you take a concept, so gender, and you know, how you flesh out different understandings of it, what it means for different people, and again, to have different experiences kind of adding nuance to your understanding of that concept has just been absolutely wonderful. So I want to commend you all on that first as well. And then my second theme around this idea of success and change, and I think it's very interesting to notice that in almost all of the videos, when this question of early success arises, there's almost not a discomfort, but there's kind of a little bit of a giggle here and there. And I want to just reassure our participants that this work is incredibly, as Boyi said, incredibly arduous, incredibly labor intensive, and that it's not always measurable. So I encourage you to keep looking for the tiniest signs of change. A lot of you speak to things like deep structure. You speak to things like the taken for granted. You speak to things like norms. And Pamela, again, and Prudence, you spoke to this as well, this idea that just participating in a course like this is an intervention in and of itself. So I really applaud you there. And my last point, I won't take up too much time, but just want to add that I've written down the question, whose work is gender work? Because I'm really, really excited to see that in each of the finalists' videos, they've managed each to convey this message that gender work is everyone's business. Gender work is everyone's work. It really excites and inspires me to see that we have male allies on board, asking difficult questions, doing difficult interventions and owning it. So really exciting to see that we are challenging resistance, we are challenging ideas about what it means to do gender work. We're not robbing certain people of their power and giving it over to others. It's a dialogue and a team effort, really. So from me, again, thank you so much. Congratulations, everybody. Please keep doing this excellent work, and I look forward to working again with all of you in future. Thanks, Keneilwe.
Thank you, Gabby, and thank you also for those thoughtful words. They are very encouraging. And I know, as for myself, being a new gender changemaker graduate, it's words that we need to keep pushing and to know that it's a whole system. We need everybody to work together. So I do appreciate that. And congratulations once again, Pamela and Prudence. So now we are moving into our prize awarding or prize giving section. And this is the reason why we are actually all here, to celebrate basically our top 3 participants, to recognize their efforts and to also inspire them to have greater achievement. So what our awards were based on, the criteria for our 2022 awards is as follows. We looked at basically if the person has implemented a comprehensive, well-written and thought through gender action plan. We also looked at if the person has maybe shown initiative, insight, and creativity in honoring the GEC program. And also we focused on if the individual has successfully implemented their gender action plan. Also, what you need to know is that winners stand a chance of a limited duration mentorship opportunity that will include one-on-one meetings with their mentor for 3 months and much, much more. So I am happy to basically announce firstly, or to introduce Tolulope Badachi, who will be announcing our second runner-up, and she is from the Gender Network Manager from FSD Africa. Tolu?
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tolulope Babajide, and I'm the Gender Network Manager at FSD Network. The FSD Network is a family of financial sector GEC programs seeking to build diverse and inclusive financial systems across Africa that enhance the financial resilience and sustainable livelihood for all and enable inclusive growth. We believe that at FSD Network, we believe that financial systems, they have the potential to play a major role in enabling inclusive growth and ensuring access to basic services, while assuring a sustainable future for low-income people. We are particularly happy to partner with Digital Consent Institute on the Gender Equality Changemakers Awards, and it is my utmost pleasure to present today's award to the second runner-up. While looking at the second runner-up bio, one thing that struck me is the scope of the Candidate Change project towards creating a more gender-sensitive environment that considers the unique needs of the different genders. The candidate early successes include conducting a gender sensitizing training that focuses on unconscious biases in the workplace, highlighting challenges that are driven by deep-rooted discrimination against women and stereotypes about their appropriate roles in the society. Is mobilizing the buy-in from the senior management of this organization by raising awareness of BFI's leading equitable organization, LEO course. Today, I'm happy to present the second runner-up, Aweba Ballet from Ipswich, Ethiopia. The second runner-up is Aweba Ballet from Ipswich, Ethiopia.
Congratulations, Aweba. Very well deserving. You are truly an ally for us. Congratulations again. Okay, so I would then like for us to move to our first runner-up, who will be awarded by Franz Wang, who is a senior specialist consultant at the Global Center for Gender Equality, and he is also one of our advisory board members for the Gender Equality Changemaker programs. Over to you, Franz.
Hi, welcome everybody. Thank you for having me. So our first runner-up, which we're naming the Advocacy Award, goes to the Financial Inclusion Manager at the Center for Financial Inclusion. The scope of this candidate's Gender Action Plan includes addressing the gender gap in representation of women at various levels of her organization. She would like to institutionalize more rigorous anti-discrimination and sexual harassment policies and collect sex disaggregated data. She received a commitment from the Alliance for Financial Inclusion for Technical Assistance to conduct gender audits, and commitment from the Federation of Employees in her country to give her a platform to educate employers on gender inclusive organizations. Her ambitions include developing a gender technical working committee to drive gender change within the institutions chaired by the Deputy Governor of Eswatini. The second winner is Prudence Minzi. Congratulations, Prudence.
Prudence is very, very happy. Congratulations, Prudence. Well deserved, well deserved. Keep up the great job. Okay, so then we are going to be moving on to our overall winner for the Gender Equality Changemaker Program, and to award our finalist will be Signa Ali, our keynote speaker from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Over to you, Signa.
Thank you. I won't keep people in suspense anymore. I just want to announce the name that I'm so excitedly waiting for. Our winner today is Pamela Bella Niamotoko Katuro. Congratulations, Pamela. Pamela is serving as the Africa Regional Director at the International Institute of Rural Reconstruction. She is a certified digital finance practitioner and a certified gender equality changemaker, of course. Pamela is passionate about gender equality and making changes. And by academic training, she's a lawyer with 18 years experience in international development management with technical expertise in program strategy, innovations, and partnerships. In addition to serving at IIRR at the Africa Regional Director, she's also doubling as Country Director Uganda and providing strategic leadership to IIRR country program teams in Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Zimbabwe. She also facilitates these programs, these Changemaker, Gender Equality Changemakers community of practice and of DFI for Uganda and Rwanda, and also serve as the Director, Gender for the Digital Frontiers Association of Uganda. Pamela previously worked at ActionAid International Uganda and United Nations Development Program. So with this rich experience, her passion, her innovation, and what we have heard from her interviews, we just hope that Pamela continues to bring changes and, you know, provide leadership in the, as she mentioned, in HR processes, in procurement processes, which are seemingly gender agnostic, as one can think, oh, these are just technical processes. What can a gender lens, a gender action plan can bring? Trust me, gender is everywhere, as we have heard from our subject matter expertise, our contestants and others. It is everywhere. And thank you and congratulations, Pamela, for pioneering the changes and being the winner of this Gender Equality Changemaker. Thank you.
Congratulations, Pamela. You have the floor.
Oh, what can I say? I'm extremely excited. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is amazing. Thank you so much. I'm very honored to receive this award, the Gender Equality Changemaker Award. Thank you so much. I want to just reflect a little bit about the journey starting on this Gender Equality Changemaker program. And, you know, when I started on it and then getting the new concepts and doing a lot of self-reflection and just, you know, realizing that, you know, gender is part of all our, everything around us, especially at the workplace, especially the subtle things. I want to really thank my, you know, DFI, my fellows, the students, the partners, the sponsors. I mean, this is amazing. And I want to say that gender equality is not something that is easy to achieve, but it is achievable. And it's generally saying that, you know, we have to continue with these partnerships Thank you very much. And I hope this award will be inspiring to so many other gender change makers out there. Thank you very much again. I am really honored. Thank you.
Congratulations, Pamela. And just to say to our other finalists that doing gender change work, as we have seen, is hard. And the fact that you are all here, it shows the big difference that you are making in your organizations. To me, everybody is a winner here. And that's why you were selected by the University of Pretoria, the center, you were selected by us, and you were also selected by the advisory board members because of the work that you are all doing. So congratulations also to you, Melissa, and also like Eden, Aberbois, Prudence, Pamela. Your capstone projects are the reasons why I'm also doing my capstone project. And I just want to say congratulations to all of you. So just to close off, I'd like to hand over to Christy and Pierre from the University of Pretoria Center for Sexuality, AIDS and Gender.
Thank you, Kinelwe, and congratulations to Pamela and to the winners and the runners-up. To be honest, it was very difficult to make these choices. You know, it's part of the journey, I suppose, is to know that everybody's work is inspiring to all of us. So I had prepared a 25-minute presentation in conclusion for today, but in the interest of time and the rest of your day and your attention spans, I'm going to be a bit shorter and focus my energies on the thank yous, really, and then let Christy have the last word. In terms of how we think about gender in our team at the center, it's tactical on my part to allow Christy to have the last word. And so that is how this is going to play out. So none of this would have been possible without the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, because without their funding, this whole project wouldn't be able to be possible. And honestly, it's been inspiring to do this work. They say, I think there's an old African saying that it takes a village to raise a child. In this case, it's taken a continent to run this project because it has involved so many role players and so many hands have been on deck to make it a success. And of course, it wouldn't have been a realization without Gavin and Torero originally approaching, I think via Kinelwe, approaching the center, our center, to ask if we were interested in being part of developing the curriculum. And honestly, I think as Gabby said, we've learned so much through this process. I almost don't think we knew what we were taking on in the beginning, but my word, have we grown and evolved. And you can even hear in the way that we talk to each other about our work, our own center, that the sort of ideas and the ethos of this course have filtered back into our own organizational thinking and the dynamics between us. So that has been an incredible privilege for us. I'd like to thank the guests and the guest speakers. I wanted to reach through my screen and give Prof. Divya Barna a big hug, because I wanted to say that speech, well, it was amazing, but it could have been drawn from the ethos of the course, the ideas, the intellectual underpinning. It was just everything was resonating with what we think about in relation to gender. Snigdha Ali from the Gates Foundation. Thank you, Snigdha, for your opening remarks and for presenting an award. Franz Wong from the Global Center for Gender Equality. Franz, you were there from the beginning in terms of conceptualizing this work, and it really was inspiring to get some of that early thinking with you. And then Tolu Babajide. Tolu, thank you from the FSD network for agreeing to present one of the awards. And I know that FSD and the Global Center for Gender Equality are offering mentorship to some of the winners as part of the prize that they will get. Again, none of this would have been possible without all the participants from the courses. Over the course journey and history, it's been incredible to interact with all of you, the finalists, the winners, and of course the attendees today. You've helped with your hands that have waved through the screen. to make today feel quite participatory. My colleagues at the center, you've been amazing. In the beginning, many sleepless nights and long weekends and getting all the materials and the content together, but I'm very proud of you and what we've achieved today. And perhaps last but not least, and I hope I haven't left anybody out, the technical team that have helped to make today possible. The green screens have looked amazing for getting the videos together and for really making it feel slick and professional and amazing. You've been a testament to this work. So thank you so much. And then Christy, I'll hand over to you, I think, for the final word.
Thank you, Pierre. Pierre says it's strategic to give me the last word, but it's also quite smart because everyone who's spoken before me has spoken so eloquently about gender and about gender work that I'm sort of given the advantage of the last word, but it's also quite a difficult task. So from my side, also once again, congratulations to everyone. And specifically, it's been so amazing to look at the guest list on the side here and see so many of our current students who attended today. And I'm so looking forward next year to sit here once again and hear about your gender change projects. Pierre just said when he spoke, it takes a village to raise a child, but I think it also sometimes it takes a child to raise the village and to change the norms. I know that's quite smart, isn't it, Pierre? I can see your face. And I think that's in part the work that we've started to do here, to not only go in with very superficial training, sort of once-off gender trainings, but to really try and understand what our communities look like, what our organizations look like on the inside, and really unpack what it would mean to bring gender change permanently. And looking and listening to our change makers speak today, I think it is absolutely remarkable what you've been able to do in only a few months. And I think that if this is what we were able to achieve in the second year only of the project, less than 6 months after the first cohort graduated, I think it is really, really exciting to look forward and imagine what the finance industry in Africa will look like in 5 or 10 years once everyone has been through this course and 500 or 1,000 gender change programs have taken off. So I will leave it there. Thank you very much from my side as well, Cornelia, for hosting all of this. It's been fantastic.
Thank you, everyone. And have a lovely evening, afternoon, morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you so much.